All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, Amber. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. You have a lot of different things in motion, so we appreciate you taking time.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you creating space for this conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've got a bunch of different questions for you because you're one of the more experienced guests that we've had in launching locations and building teams. So first one is you are in a competitive state or several states. How does your team go about gaining new clients, and what is working best for you right now?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to answer this question how you might think I would, but really, I don't believe in competition in this space. I believe, truthfully, that competition is a fallacy. So, according to SAMHSA, 7 out of 10 people who reach out for care do not connect with care. So, the real issue is not who is my competitor, who's taking business from me. The real issue is what do we need to do better to connect people to care. And if I'm being really transparent, that's my style. Anybody who's familiar or follows me on LinkedIn knows that's the case. I think that it's something that we tell ourselves to make us feel better about why our beds are empty and why we're not doing a good enough job to connect people to care. But to answer your question about what is working well for Cornerstone Healing Center, we put the product first. That is by far what drives our success. We are constantly iterating and reiterating and obsessed about providing the best service that we possibly can to our clients. And because we do that, we have great outcomes, and that has built us an incredible reputation within our space. And we're very present in our community as well. That's another core tenet of who we are, being present in our community, giving back to the community, being a resource for the community. So, if you were to come to Phoenix and ask about Cornerstone, chances are good people are going to know who we are, what we do, and that we do it well. And my job in the marketing space is just to tell that story.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think for every clinic, I mean, when we interview potential clients, we always ask like, where are you generating most of your new business from? And if they don't say word of mouth as the 60-70% of their business, then you're doing something wrong, right? You have to focus on that quality of work, and if you focus on that first, like you guys do, the results should follow.
Yeah, absolutely. If we have a good product, if we have a good service, there are more than enough people who need care, and they'll find their
More
way
than
to
enough.
us.
Absolutely. Often more than we can provide care for, right? Even
Yeah,
even
absolutely. Yes.
yeah. Um, so you have launched multiple locations. You guys are in 3 locations, I think, right now. What is the hardest part about building out a brand new location, building out a brand new team?
Yeah, so I have not been with Cornerstone for very long, so I don't want to speak too far back, but I can speak in my experience in my time here. In the time that I've been here, we've doubled census and we're about to double it again. So I've got a good understanding, and without a doubt, it's about finding the right people on our staff. Our culture is king here at Cornerstone. That's a core tenet of our product, making sure that we're hiring people into that culture, the right people, and putting them in the right seats. That's been the biggest challenge. Often looking at our operations like, let's go, get it going, where are we at? Because we have really our biggest challenge is that we have more people who need care than we currently can provide beds for. So we're just trying to keep up with that cadence, and it's simultaneously making sure that as we scale, we're doing it the right way. We keep our culture, we keep the integrity of our service, we keep the integrity of who we are and what we want to do, even at scale.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think a lot of people are aware of and focus on maintaining quality of care as they grow. I don't think a lot of people understand and pay attention to maintaining quality of culture for your internal team, because that
It's
definitely can get
crucial.
lost. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other, really.
True. Very true. Very true. Um, So, what does being kind of a disruptor in the behavioral health sector mean to you, and how has it been working so far?
For me, it's being the voice that's willing to stand up in the room and demand that we do better, whether that's with my team or whether that's on LinkedIn or at a conference. That 7 out of 10 metric is the driver here, right? I don't care what's been working. I don't care for how long it's been working. It's actually not working, right? Even if we feel like we're successful in this space, we're not, because we're not solving the problem if more people who are seeking care aren't getting it. So that number's flipped. Someone has to be constantly challenging the narrative of how do we do better? What drives that needle forward? Where are our deficits? Let's look at it a little bit differently than everybody else has. You have to be willing to challenge that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. There has to be someone that challenges the status quo, or it never changes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've spoken pretty openly about turning personal pain into purpose. How has that shaped your leadership style and how you lead your teams?
Yeah. So with radical authenticity and candor is how I show up for my team. I really believe that one of the biggest detriments that we have done to our teams in corporate America is expect people to show up and wear a corporate mask, to follow the rules, to jump when I say jump, to put the period in the period goes. That's not how solid teams are built. That's not leadership. So I set the standard and the precedent by showing up as an authentic human every day and creating space for my team to do that as well. And it's really a beautiful thing when you do that, because when people feel free to show up and be themselves, you get to see really, like, we've all been given these different gifts, right? We all have different skill sets, and our job as leaders is to match those skill sets to deficits and create a well-rounded team. And we use that connectedness, that togetherness to solve the problem. We can't do that when we're wearing a mask. We can't do that when we're following the rules. So yeah, man, my team knows when I fail. They know when I fail big. We say I'm sorry a lot. Whether it's a six-figure mistake or, yesterday I read a Slack wrong, right? And I responded, I was like, hey, I would have done that differently. And they were like, hey, did you catch this part? And I was like, actually, I didn't. I
Hey,
read
I
it too
actually
fast.
already did it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, just being a human and allowing our people to be humans changes the game.
absolutely. Well, I mean, and who wants to work in a place where you have to wear a mask if you have a choice and you can find a place where you can be genuinely yourself, right?
Unfortunately, I think that's the case more often than not, though.
It is.
Not many places can you be yourself unless it's your place.
Yeah. Well, and unless leadership like you tries to make an actual priority, it actually can be an open space.
I think more people are doing it.
Me
I'm
too.
seeing it a lot more, and I hope it continues to become the norm.
Absolutely. I think it helps combat burnout, it helps combat disengaged employees, it helps combat a lot of those issues that are facing a lot of behavioral health groups. So in a field where trust is absolutely everything, how do you lead ethical marketing without still, losing the impact, the growth, the filling the beds, so to speak?
Yeah, that's how you fill the beds, right? That's the beginning of the patient journey. Is marketing, is your sales and marketing team, their experience and how you acquire that client, that patient, whatever terminology you want to use, sets the precedent for their treatment experience. So the last thing that I would want to do would be to, have an inauthentic experience for that patient, to have a deceptive experience for that patient, and then drop them in a program and expect them to be successful, expect them to be vulnerable, expect them to have therapeutic rapport with our operations and clinical teams. You're setting yourself up for failure, and it's a house of cards. So you have to do it the right way if you're focused on the right outcomes.
Or it won't last. It'll fall apart eventually.
Yeah, and it's a great disservice to the patient. It's tragic, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have led both admissions and branding and strategy and leadership. What is one lesson that you've taken from kind of the front lines and actually talking to potential clients, potential patients on a daily basis, and have you applied that to leadership?
I've had the honor of working in every, not, I wouldn't say every role in this space, but a lot of different roles. I've been a BHT, I've been a case manager, I've led clinical teams, I've gone to school to be a therapist, I have my master's degree, not my license. And then somehow I ended up in clinical outreach and admissions, and now I'm in marketing. I've seen a lot of different facets of this industry in all of those roles, right? And if I could share anything or challenge anything, it would be, why are you doing this work? Why are you in this space? Why do you own the company that you own as a treatment center owner? What's your motivation? Because whatever your mission, vision, and values are, authentically are, bleeds into every part of that treatment experience, right? Are you people focused? Are you revenue focused? If revenue is first, that experience finds its way woven into that entire patient journey, and the patients know it, right? If you're people first, that also finds its way through the entire patient journey and the ecosystem, and they know it, and our clients are more successful. And if I had to say anything to, other leaders out there, if you're in it for revenue first, man, there's a lot of other land grabs out there right now. Go work in AI. Go work in tech, right? This is not the space for that. You have to be people first. You have to be mission oriented in this space, or you're just hurting people and you're not going to be successful. That is just, those things are not disconnected. And sometimes when you're in leadership, you're up here and the patient is down here in the funnel, right? And there, you don't see that connection. It bleeds the whole way through. So why you're doing what you're doing matters, and you have to challenge yourself to ask that question.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that is one of those truths of life that I think more people should know and should understand better. You have to actually see how things are working in the real world, not just
Right.
leading the team who leads the team who does the actual work.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
all is connected. It all matters, especially in a space that, is here to save lives. That's what we're here to do.
absolutely. Or that's what you should be there for, right? You're just in it for the
100%.
money. It's
Yes.
not going to work. That makes complete sense. That makes complete sense. Perfect. Well, those are our six tight, short questions. We appreciate you taking time out of your day and sharing some insights with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.